My husband emptied our daughter's college account and disappeared with the woman he'd been hiding. I thought my world had ended until my 12-year-old looked me dead in the eye and said, "Mom, relax. I already took care of it." 3 days later, his panicked voice cracked through my phone after he realized what she'd done. I found Mark shoving clothes into a duffel bag like the bedroom was burning down. No warning. No conversation. Just manic packing while I stood there in yesterday's pajamas, completely blindsided. "Mark, what's going on?" He didn't even glance up. Something I should have done years ago. 22 years of marriage, and this was my goodbye. Him cramming wrinkled shirts into luggage while I processed that my husband was erasing me in real time. "Stop. Just stop and talk to me." I grabbed his wrist, but he yanked away like I'd burned him. When he finally met my eyes, I saw nothing. No guilt. No pain. Just cold resolution. "I'm done, Sarah. I'm leaving today." The floor tilted beneath me. Yesterday we'd laughed over Emma's college essays. Yesterday he'd kissed my cheek before bed. Yesterday I had a husband. Is there someone else? Mark froze, shirt dangling from his hand. Something flickered across his face, then vanished. This isn't about another person. This is about me suffocating in this life. But I knew. The face-down phone. The midnight, client dinners. The emotional distance I'd convinced myself was normal. "Where are you going?" "I'll figure it out. Transfer my half of the savings by tomorrow." That's when real terror kicked in. I sprinted downstairs and nearly collided with Emma at the kitchen table. She looked up from her cereal, concern creasing her forehead. "Mom, what's wrong?" "Nothing, baby. Dad's just taking a trip." The lie tasted like poison. I grabbed my laptop with shaking hands. Checking, $247.83. Savings, $0. Emma's college fund, $0. The $75,000 we'd been building since Emma was born vanished. No. No, no, no. 3 days ago. While I was at book club, my husband was committing betrayal in real time. He'd transferred everything. Not just his share, everything. I called the bank, hands trembling. The representative confirmed my nightmare. Mark had full account access. The transfers were legitimate. Legal. Devastating. "Mom." Emma's voice sounded distant. "You're scaring me." I looked at my daughter, really looked. 12 years old, uniform pressed, backpack ready. She had no idea her father had just stolen her future. Footsteps on the stairs. Mark appeared, dragging his bag. He moved toward the door like we were furniture. "That's it? 22 years and you're just gone?" He paused, hand on the doorknob. "I left you a voicemail. It explains everything. Look at your daughter and explain why you're abandoning her." Emma stood slowly. She didn't cry, didn't beg. Just watched him with those sharp, calculating eyes, his eyes. Mark glanced at Emma for maybe 3 seconds. "You'll understand when you're older." Then to me, "Don't make this uglier than it has to be." The door clicked shut. Not slammed, clicked. Somehow that quiet sound was worse. Emma and I stood in the sudden silence. The coffee maker gurgled. Outside, a car engine started and drove away, taking my husband and our money with it. "Is he coming back?" Emma asked. I wanted to lie, to protect her. But looking at her face, I knew she already understood. "I don't think so, sweetheart." She nodded, processing. "Did he take our money?" How did she know to ask that? "Some of it." "My college fund too?" I couldn't speak. Just nodded. Emma rinsed her cereal bowl, dried it, put it away with mechanical precision. Then she turned to me with an expression I'd never seen, calm, certain, almost dangerous. "Mom, don't worry. I handled it. The words were so unexpected, so confidently delivered, I almost laughed. She was 12. What could she possibly handle? But something in her tone stopped me cold. What do you mean? Emma grabbed her backpack. I'll miss the bus. We'll talk after school, okay? And she was gone, leaving me with questions I couldn't answer and a daughter who apparently knew something I didn't. That first week felt like living underwater, everything muffled and suffocating. I'd cry folding his abandoned laundry, seeing his coffee mug, hearing Emma's alarm each morning. But Emma? She moved through our shattered reality like nothing had changed. Every morning at 7:15 sharp, dressed, organized, lunch packed. She'd kiss my cheek and say, "Have a good day, Mom," in the same cheerful tone. It was unsettling. Are you okay, sweetheart? I caught her wrist one morning. Those serious dark eyes met mine. I'm fine, Mom. Are you? I wasn't fine. I was disintegrating. But I couldn't tell her that. That evening, I heard it, rapid clicking from Emma's room. Typing. Frantic, purposeful typing. After making dinner, I knocked on her door around 6:30. Come in. Emma was at her desk, laptop angled away. She closed it quickly when I entered. Brought you dinner, honey. Thanks, Mom. She took the tray without meeting my eyes. I glanced at her desk. Papers, planner, textbooks. Nothing unusual. But something felt staged. What were you working on? History report. Industrial Revolution. She reopened her laptop, but I caught a glimpse, email interfaces, not a school document. The pattern continued. Emma maintained perfect composure while I spiraled. The typing continued every night, sometimes until midnight. Friday evening, while putting away laundry, I saw it, a sheet of paper on her desk, partially hidden under her textbook. I shouldn't have looked. But the formatting caught my eye. A printed email thread. The names made my blood freeze, Mark and Rebecca Sterling. Messages from 3 weeks ago, before Mark left. They discussed meeting times, hotel reservations, and handling Sarah when the time comes. I sat hard on Emma's bed, staring at evidence my 12-year-old had somehow accessed her father's private emails. Mom. Emma stood in the doorway, holding her empty plate. No panic, no embarrassment, just calm observation. Emma, where did this come from? She set the plate down and closed the door. Dad's not very good with passwords. How long have you known about Rebecca? 6 weeks. About the money, I figured that out the day before he left. 6 weeks. While I'd been oblivious, my child had been carrying this knowledge alone. Why didn't you tell me? Emma sat beside me. I wanted to be sure. And I wanted to figure out what to do about it. Honey, this isn't your responsibility. Yes, it is. Her voice was steel. He stole my college fund. He lied to both of us. Someone had to do something. Emma pulled a spiral notebook from under her mattress and handed it to me. Pages filled with handwritten notes. Printed screenshots. Diagrams. Lists of numbers. Evidence. Emma, what is all this? Research. Dad thinks he's smart, but he's careless. Same password for everything. Never clears his browser history. Never logs out. I flipped through page after page of meticulous documentation. Financial records. Text messages. Travel itineraries. My daughter had been conducting surveillance on her own father. I learned most of it from YouTube tutorials. Computer security is really interesting once you understand the basics. Emma, hacking into someone's accounts, it's not legal. She looked at me with an expression far too mature for 12. Neither is stealing $75,000 from your daughter's college fund. The matter-of-fact delivery sent chills down my spine. What are you planning to do with this? Emma took the notebook back. I'm still working on that part. But don't worry, Mom. I've got this handled. Show me everything, I said, voice barely steady. Emma hesitated. Mom, some of it's pretty bad. Show me. She opened her laptop and pulled up a folder labeled Science Fair Project. Inside, dozens of subfolders. Financial records. Communication logs. Identity theft evidence. It started with Dad's second phone. He thought he hid it in his closet, but I saw him checking it one night. The screen filled with photographs, blurry images of Mark texting on a device I'd never seen. I waited until he left it charging. I only had 10 minutes, but I got into his messages. That's how I found Rebecca. Screenshot after screenshot of text conversations. My husband's words to another woman, discussing me like an obstacle. Planning their future. Strategizing how to handle the Sarah situation without losing money in divorce. I felt sick. But it gets worse, Mom. Emma clicked another folder. Rebecca Sterling works at Dad's accounting firm. She handles client investments and trust accounts. She's been stealing money from her clients for 2 years. The evidence was overwhelming. Bank transfers from client accounts to personal ones. Fake invoices. Investment statements that didn't match actual balances. Emma, how did you get into their systems? Rebecca uses the same password for everything, Sterling 2011. That's her last name and the year she graduated college. I found that on her LinkedIn profile. People are really predictable with passwords. She clicked another folder, and my world tilted sideways. Bank statements with my name, but accounts I'd never opened. Credit applications filed under Emma's social security number. Loan documents with forged signatures. Mom, Dad didn't just take our money. He's been using our identities to get loans. The $75,000 from my college fund was just the down payment on a $200,000 loan he took out in my name. What? He and Rebecca are buying a house in Florida. They used my credit history and your employment information to secure the mortgage. They were going to disappear and leave us holding the debt. Identity theft. Fraud. My husband hadn't just abandoned us, he'd systematically destroyed our financial future. But here's the thing, Emma continued, and I heard cold satisfaction in her voice. I caught them before they could complete the purchase. She opened another folder, countermeasures. Inside, official-looking documents. Fraud reports filed with credit agencies. Complaints submitted to banking authorities. Anonymous tips sent to Rebecca's employer. I've been working on this for 3 weeks. I documented everything first, then I started dismantling their plans piece by piece. What do you mean? Rebecca got suspended from work yesterday. Her boss received an anonymous email with all the evidence of her embezzlement. Her clients are pulling their accounts. The state board is launching an investigation. You did that? She stole money from elderly people saving for retirement, a mom. She deserved it. And that's just the beginning. She showed me more. Credit agencies had frozen the fraudulent accounts. The mortgage application had been flagged and denied. Rebecca's landlord had received a tip about illegal activity and started eviction proceedings. But the best part is what I sent to her father. Her father. Dr. Robert Sterling. He's a prominent surgeon very concerned about his family's reputation. He received a detailed letter about his daughter's criminal activities, along with copies of all the evidence. I felt dizzy. Emma, what have you done? I've protected us. Dad thought he could steal from us and walk away clean. He thought we'd be too broken and stupid to fight back. He was wrong. But sweetheart, going after people like this, it's dangerous. More dangerous than letting them destroy our lives? Mom, they didn't just take our money. They took my future. They took your security. They took everything we worked for. I watched my 12-year-old daughter, silhouetted against the window, and realized she was right. While I'd been crying, Emma had been fighting for us. What happens now? Emma turned back. Now we wait. Rebecca's world is falling apart, and she doesn't even know why yet. When Dad realizes what's happening, he'll panic. And when people panic, they make mistakes. How can you be so calm? Because I'm not the one who has to be scared anymore. They are. That night, around midnight, I heard it again, the soft clicking of computer keys, steady and determined. Emma was still working. Still planning. Still protecting us. The phone rang at exactly 2:15 on a Tuesday afternoon. Mark's name flashed across the screen. My soapy hands fumbled for the phone. Hello? Sarah. Mark's voice was strained, desperate. We need to talk. Something very strange is happening. I glanced toward the living room where Emma was supposedly doing homework. What kind of strange? My bank called this morning. All my accounts have been flagged for suspicious activity. They've frozen everything pending federal review. And Rebecca lost her job yesterday. Security escorted her out. Emma appeared in the kitchen doorway. She walked calmly to the counter and poured herself water, but I noticed she was listening intently. I don't understand what that has to do with me. It's too much of a coincidence. First Rebecca gets fired for some bogus embezzlement claim, now my finances are under investigation. Someone's targeting us, Sarah. Someone with serious technical skills. Emma moved to the kitchen table, opening her laptop. She typed something quickly, and her screen lit up with multiple windows and data streams. Who would do something like that? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Rebecca thinks it might be someone from her office. Mark stopped suddenly. What was that sound? I looked at Emma. She'd clicked something, and a soft chime had echoed through the phone connection. What sound? There was a beep, like someone just accessed my email. Sarah, someone's in my computer right now. I can see my email opening and closing in real time. Someone's reading my messages while we're talking. Emma's fingers moved across her keyboard with fluid precision. Her screen showed email interfaces, financial documents, streaming data. She was inside his system, watching everything he did. Mark, maybe you should hang up and call your bank. No, wait. Sarah, did you hire someone? A private investigator or computer expert? Because what they're doing is illegal. Emma looked up and gave me the slightest shake of her head, then returned to her screen. I didn't hire anyone, I said truthfully. Then who? Mark's voice cut off, replaced by frantic typing. Someone just sent an email from my account to my boss. Sarah, they're impersonating me right now. What did the email say? I can't, everything's happening too fast. They're in my social media accounts now. They're posting things, financial documents, private messages between me and Rebecca. Emma minimized one window and opened another. I caught a glimpse of social media profiles and document uploads before she angled the screen away. Mark, contact the police if someone's hacking your accounts. The police said if the information being posted is true, then it's not harassment, it's whistleblowing. But how would anyone have access to true financial documents unless they were inside my actual accounts? The realization was hitting him. Someone was posting real evidence of his crimes. Sarah, I need you to understand. The money I took, I was planning to pay it back. Rebecca and I were going to make it work, then I was going to quietly replace everything. Nobody was supposed to get hurt. But you did take it. Temporarily. As a loan. Rebecca had this investment opportunity guaranteed to double our money within 6 months. We were going to surprise you and Emma with even more money. Emma looked up from her laptop, and I saw cold calculation in her expression. She was listening to her father spin lies about stealing from his own family, and she was taking notes. Mark, that's not how loans work. You can't take someone else's money without permission and call it a loan. You don't understand the pressure I was under. Rebecca's father was threatening to cut her off financially if she didn't prove she could support herself. She needed that money to buy the house, to show him she was serious. So you stole our daughter's college fund to impress your girlfriend's father? It wasn't stealing. It was an investment in all of our futures. Rebecca's family has connections. Once her father accepted her, he was going to help me start my own firm. We would have been wealthy, Sarah. Wealthy enough to pay for Emma's college 10 times over. Emma closed her laptop with a quiet snap and stood up. She walked to where I was standing and gently took the phone from my hand. "Hi, Dad." Her voice was perfectly calm. "Emma, sweetheart, thank God." "Emma, someone is doing terrible things to me and Rebecca. They're making us look like criminals. You have to tell your mother that I would never steal from you." "Never." "But you did steal from me. You took $75,000 from my college account and used it as collateral for a mortgage application in Florida." The silence on Mark's end stretched for nearly 10 seconds. "Emma, who told you that?" "Nobody told me. I found out myself. Along with copies of the forged loan documents where you used my social security number to secure additional credit." "That's impossible. You're 12 years old. You couldn't possibly understand." "I understand that you committed identity theft. I understand that Rebecca embezzled money from her clients. I understand that you both plan to disappear to Florida and leave Mom and me responsible for the debt you created." "Emma, listen to me very carefully. Adults sometimes make complicated financial decisions that children can't fully grasp. What looks wrong to you might actually be, I have copies of everything, Dad. Every email between you and Rebecca. Every forged document. Every illegal transaction. I've been watching you for weeks." Mark's breathing became labored. "You've been watching me?" "Emma, what does that mean?" "It means I know about the second phone you thought you hid so well. I know about the fake investment accounts Rebecca created to hide the money she stole. I know about the house you tried to buy using my identity. And I know that when the money ran out and Rebecca got fired, she stopped returning your calls." "How could you possibly know about Rebecca not returning my calls?" "Because I'm monitoring all your communications. I've been watching both of you destroy yourselves piece by piece." Emma sat down at the kitchen table, still holding the phone with complete composure. "Rebecca blocked your number yesterday after her father cut her off financially. She's already started dating someone else." The sound that came through the phone was somewhere between a sob and a scream. "Emma, please. I know I made mistakes, but I'm still your father. I love you. I love your mother. I never meant for things to go this far. You chose her over us, Dad. You chose money over your family. You chose to steal my future to pay for your new life. Actions have consequences. You taught me that when you walked out of our house with your suitcase. Emma, I'm begging you. Whatever you've done, whatever you know, please just stop. I have nothing left. I'm living in my car because I can't pass a credit check to rent an apartment. I can't get a job because every background check shows financial fraud flags. Please." Emma looked at me as she spoke her final words to her father. "You taught me something important, Dad. You taught me that the people who are supposed to protect you sometimes don't. So you have to protect yourself." And with that, she hung up. The silence that followed was deafening. Emma set the phone on the counter and looked at me with those calm, serious eyes. "He won't call back." "How do you know?" "Because now he knows I'm watching. And he knows that every move he makes, I'll see coming." She picked up her laptop and headed toward her room. "I have homework to finish." I stood alone in my kitchen, finally understanding that my 12-year-old daughter had just systematically dismantled a grown man's entire life, and that he deserved every second of it. 6 months later, I was stacking books in the Children's section of Millburg Community Library when my supervisor approached with a nervous expression. "Sarah, there's a reporter here asking about your daughter," Linda whispered, glancing toward the front desk where a woman in a pressed suit waited with a notepad. My heart stopped. "What kind of reporter?" "She says she's investigating the Rebecca Sterling embezzlement case. Apparently someone tipped her off that the anonymous whistleblower might be connected to our area." I walked to the front desk on unsteady legs. The reporter smiled professionally and extended her hand. "Mrs. Patterson, I'm Jennifer Walsh from Channel 7 News. I'm doing a follow-up story on the Sterling financial fraud scandal. I understand your ex-husband was involved? I can't comment on that, I said quickly. The story has gained national attention. Rebecca Sterling is facing federal charges, and several other victims have come forward. Someone was incredibly thorough in documenting the crimes. We'd love to thank whoever provided the evidence. After she left, I drove home to our small apartment across town, hands shaking on the steering wheel. Emma was at the kitchen table doing homework when I walked in. There was a reporter at the library today asking about the Rebecca Sterling case, I said carefully. Emma didn't look up from her math worksheet. They'll never connect it to me. I used 7 different proxy servers and cryptocurrency payments for all the anonymous accounts. Emma, it's fine, Mom. Really? The more attention the case gets, the more other victims will come forward. I've been monitoring the news coverage. 12 other families have contacted authorities about Rebecca's fraudulent investment schemes. The casual way she discussed her nationwide impact on financial crime investigations still caught me off guard. My daughter had triggered a federal investigation that was now protecting dozens of families, and she talked about it like a successful science project. 3 weeks later, Emma received an email that changed everything. A technology company called Secure Family somehow identified me, Emma explained, showing me the official letter on her laptop. They're offering me a full scholarship to any college I want, plus a guaranteed job after graduation. Starting salary would be $120,000 a year. I stared at the numbers. Emma, this is incredible. This could set you up for life. I know. She closed the laptop without hesitation. I'm turning it down. Why? Because they want to own what I create. They want me to build security software that makes money off people's fear instead of actually protecting them. Besides, I already have a job. What do you mean? What? Emma pulled out a business card from her backpack. Professionally designed E. Patterson, Family Financial Protection Consultant. I've been helping families secure their finances and recover from fraud for the past month. I have 6 regular clients now, and they pay me $75 an hour for consultations. I took the card, studying the crisp design. Emma, you're 13 years old. How are you running a consulting business? Age doesn't matter when you're working online. My clients think I'm an adult cybersecurity expert with a specialty in family protection. She pulled up a spreadsheet showing her income. I've made enough to replace most of my college fund already. The numbers were staggering. In just 1 month, my teenage daughter had earned more than I made in 3 months at the library. What kind of services do you provide? I help families identify financial red flags, secure their digital accounts, and recover stolen money. Last week I helped a family in Ohio get back $30,000 their son had stolen from his grandmother's retirement account. That evening, I found myself reading about the Rebecca Sterling case online. The story had gone viral, shared across social media, and covered by national news outlets. Comments ranged from outrage about the fraud to praise for the anonymous hero who'd exposed the scheme. One comment thread caught my attention, dozens of people sharing their own experiences with family financial betrayal. Parents stealing from children. Spouses hiding assets. Relatives exploiting elderly family members. Emma's actions had opened a floodgate of similar stories. Nobody suspected the whistleblower was a 12-year-old girl. Spring arrived with warmth that felt like hope. Emma's consulting business continued growing. She'd started creating free educational resources for families, security checklists, warning sign guides, step-by-step instructions for reporting financial crimes. I want to turn this into a nonprofit when I turn 18, she told me one evening. Something that provides free protection services to families who can't afford private consultants. That's a beautiful goal, Emma. It started because of what Dad did to us, but it's become something bigger. There are so many families being victimized by people they trust. One evening in late spring, I paused outside Emma's door and heard her on a video call. I know it's scary discovering that your mother has been using your college fund, she was saying gently, but you're going to be okay. I'm going to help you protect what's left and make sure this doesn't happen again. She was talking to another teenager, probably someone whose family was being destroyed the same way ours had been. Emma had become a lifeline for children whose parents had betrayed them. The most important thing to remember is that this isn't your fault. Adults are supposed to protect children, not steal from them. When they don't do their job, we have to protect ourselves. I walked away from her door with tears in my eyes. Not from sadness, but from overwhelming pride. Mark had tried to break us. Instead, he'd forged something unbreakable. Emma had transformed her pain into purpose, her trauma into a mission to protect other families. The next morning, Emma appeared at breakfast looking like any other 8th grader. But I knew better now. Underneath that normal teenage exterior was someone extraordinary, someone who'd taken the worst thing that ever happened to her and turned it into a force for good. Ready for school? I asked, kissing her forehead. Always, she said, shouldering her backpack. Oh, and Mom? I love you. I love you too, sweetheart. As I watched her walk to the bus stop, I realized that Mark's betrayal hadn't destroyed our family. It had revealed what we were truly made of. Emma had won more than justice. She'd won her future, and was using it to secure the futures of countless other families. Mark could keep his new life, whatever remained of it. We'd built something infinitely more valuable from the pieces he'd left behind. We'd built hope. And Emma was sharing it with the world. What would you do if you discovered someone you trusted had been stealing from your family? Comment the number 7 if you'd fight back the way Emma did. And here's the real question: at what age does a child become capable of protecting their family when the adults fail them? Share your thoughts below. I read every single comment.